there's something I wanted to talk to you guys about. And that is the idea of kind of like a multiverse in a way. But hold on. Don't leave yet. Listen, okay? I want to unwawa wee woo or whatever. Whatever people say about it, this concept, because if there are multiple versions of yourself, an infinite number of versions of yourself, in every single decision that you make, you can kind of look at every decision from a bird's eye view and pick the one that you want to be that day, in that moment of that day. Because, like, don't think about time, don't think about what you've done in the past. If you want to change, or you're not liking the way that you're living right now, you have to pick something else than what you're currently doing, right? So, what I mean by this is like the other day and today, I woke up, I didn't want to go to the gym. I really did not want to go. And listen, like when I tell you I did not want to go, like I am getting back into the gym after 3 years basically of being sick and not being able to go. So I'm not just, "Ugh, I didn't want to go to the gym." No, I'm like, I'm getting back into my life and I'm recording this and sharing it with you guys. And like, we're going to get back into our lives together. Like, that's the whole point. Okay. Like, it's not like I'm just saying these things and these things are just, you know, no, like this is legitimate, okay? And that's kind of like a lot, not everything that I want about this channel, or that's not everything I want this channel to be, but I do want to work on ourselves together, um, and just kind of go through this process in whatever way that means for you. Or you can just observe me and my struggles. That's completely fine too. But basically, I did not want to go. I've been really struggling with what I'm doing with myself, what I'm doing with my life, having a lot of self doubt, and just being really in my head. And every decision has just been really, really difficult. And I've been extremely indecisive. But I started thinking about it as there's like parallel universes where I am just one version of Audrey, right? There's still a version of Audrey that exists that's still sick and struggling and wishing that they could be me right now. Like, I think that. And so when I think that, I'm like, okay, take advantage of all of the things that you have right now, because you would have looked at life so differently if you were watching, if your past self was watching your present self. I'm making this a lot more difficult than it needs to sound, but essentially, there's a version of yourself that woke up this morning and went to the gym for you, for you. There's a version of yourself that woke up this morning and ate 6 donuts. There's a version of yourself that woke up this morning and pressed snooze, went back to bed. There's a version of yourself that woke up this morning and journaled. There's a version of yourself that got up and brushed their teeth and, I don't know, read the newspaper. Like, there is a version of all of those scenarios in every single thing that you do. That's like, even the underwear that you picked to wear this morning had impact on your day. Every decision you ever do, everything you ever think, everything you ever do in this life, in any point of your day, affects the rest of your life, not just big life choices. And I just don't think, sometimes I think about that more and I'm just like, wow, like it makes your days a lot longer when you think this way. At least it has been this week. Like, I literally started thinking this way like this week, okay? But since I've been starting to think this way and being like, okay, no, that's what a lower version of me would do. I would stay in bed and I would not go to the gym and I would be sad. And that is something that a lower version of Audrey would do. But I don't want to be that lower version of Audrey. I want to be a higher version of myself, which again, that's the wah wah wee woo or whoop de woo, whatever fucking thing that people say about like spirituality and things like that, which I'm not, I want to make that less I really wish I knew the word. I really wish I knew it, but I just don't. Um, but yeah. So ever since I've been thinking this way, my life has been coming together a lot more. And I try not to think too much into the future either, because I just have faith that everything will work out. And that's how I used to live. And then I honestly, here's the tea. I used to always live like that. Like, oh my gosh, I used to always live like that and things worked out. And then once I started not believing in myself fully and like questioning things, trying to plan too much, that's when my life fell apart. And don't get me wrong, like, okay, yes, I got sick. Like, that kind of was something that was completely out of my control. But it's just like, just trust, and things will work out. But also do it day by day and look at every decision that you make. Every decision. What would a lower version of yourself do? And think about that. A lower version of myself this morning would have gotten Dunkin'. I didn't want it, and I said no, I didn't want it. Well, I still ended up getting a little snack from there, but I didn't get any coffee from there. I had it at home. And I know that a lower version of myself would have gotten Dunkin' today, which sounds so small and so like insignificant, but it's not. Okay? These are tiny decisions. Sorry, I'm back. I had to get a beauty blender. But these are tiny decisions that do make a difference. And it's like, once you recognize even just what a lower version of yourself would do, you can start to recognize what a higher version of yourself would do. And even if you feel really stuck, this really stood out to me. The other day I was playing chess, right? And there were points where I was being told, they really didn't know, like they weren't trying to like mess with me or anything, but that I was in a really bad position and there was nothing I could do, blah blah blah. And I'm like, wait, hold on. No. And I trusted myself, and there was way more that I could do. Okay, that's not even actually the point that I wanted to make. The point that I really wanted to make was that I was playing chess as well, and there were points that even if you get a hint, like there's a really aggressive move you could be making right now, you're gonna see that, right? So, but if you were never even told, oh, there's an aggressive move or there's a really offensive move you could make, you're not gonna see it. Or like whatever, you know? And that's the same thing that happens in life. That I think that's where God comes in, honestly, because it's like, okay, you don't recognize some things, but then it's like God will whisper them to you. But also, that's where I think sound comes in as well, like frequencies and such, which is more freaking woo woo. Woo woo! Oh my gosh, that's what it is. It's called woo woo. That's what people say. Not wah wah wee wah. Um, woo woo, okay? But I'm telling you, listen to some frequencies while you walk home from work, or walk if you just go walk somewhere. And I'm telling you, you're going to experience life differently than if you hadn't listened to it. Don't listen. Even podcasts nowadays or content. Like, I know you're watching this video right now, but it's like sometimes you need to just cut off the content, cut off the podcast, cut off the music, cut off everything. Just listen to a frequency sound. Sometimes that's all you need to do. And that will actually bring your mind into a certain state of mind. That sounds very repetitive, but you get the point. And you will start thinking in ways that you wouldn't have thought before because your consciousness wasn't getting in that place. So that kind of is like a clutch for you. I have a lot of creative thoughts when I listen to certain frequency sounds, when I am out in nature as well. Like if you're on a walk and do it, but you don't have to be on a walk. You can literally play the sounds and do whatever you want. You can cook if you want. And you know what? An alternate version of yourself cooked the meal without the frequency sound and the meal came out differently than if you cooked it with the frequency sound. I promise you. Same way as if you did your makeup listening to music versus you didn't. I promise you. The makeup is going to come out differently if you listen to certain kinds of music versus something else. Or if you watched something. And there's versions of yourself that have done all those different things. That's what I am trying to say. And all of those tiny decisions then impacts later things in your day and later things and later things and later things. And that's your life. All of these tiny decisions that seem insignificant, they are significant. Everything is significant. Every single thing. And honestly, one thing I have to say too is the fact that everybody has like the same kind of clothing colors and everything makes all these decisions seem way less significant. Like back before, when people were wearing like all different kinds of outfits and being way more expressive with their clothing, and not just wearing beige and black and things every single day, yes, that mushes your days together. And that makes it seem like the choice that you made was not a significant choice, but it still was. So that's another reason I also want to bring color back into my wardrobe. Even though it's hard for me, I haven't really been a color person in a long time, really, since I was like a kid. But I do think that that's important as well, because the colors that you choose to wear are going to impact your day. Whether you think it or not, it will. Because then, oh, maybe at the store you're going to be gravitated towards a snack that you wouldn't have normally tried because you are wearing a certain color that day, and it reminds you subconsciously of that color, and then you go for it. Or it's all subconscious things that are happening. Doesn't matter what it is. These choices, they matter. Every single thing you do matters, because there's an alternate version of yourself that did something slightly differently, and they are on a completely different lifeline than you. Timeline. They're a completely different part. Like, they're living a completely different life. That's also one thing I want to get better at too, which we will get better at in time together, is being more spontaneous, because I'm not a spontaneous person right now. I'm really struggling to get back into the world in general. So I tend to not really do anything outside of work, gym. Well, gym is recent too. Um, go to the store. That's also a recent thing. I have a lot of anxiety. Um, because when I was sick, I looked really, really messed up. And that's a story for another time. I honestly don't really like talking about that time period. I have really bad trauma with it. But we are growing. We're getting out of that. We're gonna be really outgoing. That's how I want to be. I want to be outgoing again. I want to, find my way back into civilization again and be more spontaneous again. Because when you're spontaneous, that's when things in your life just start happening. Like, you will just find yourself in a place, and this is how my life used to be, where I would just be like, that's annoying. That was in the frame the whole time. I'm sorry, but how did I get here? Like, there were moments that I'm just like, what? And every tiny little decision that I made mattered. Everything. And you don't realize that until you realize it. So, no matter what it is, what food you eat, what things you choose to consume, obviously that's impacting you. But I just think that people don't think about it too much anymore, because we consume so much now. It's like really insane. But overall, guys, just remember, you can catch up to a time or a version of yourself that version of yourself already exists somewhere. You just have to like catch on to that train, if that makes sense. Like, there's a version of yourself that is going to start upgrading today. You just have to like hop on to that. Or you can just stay consistent and do what you're doing. And yeah, you're going to live the same exact life that you're living right now. And if that's what you want to do and you're happy, then yes, hell yeah. But if not, you need to catch that train like as soon as you can and do one thing that day or whatever day, or as many things, not even one thing. If you can do multiple choices, if you can think in the moment, if you're at a moment and you're like, okay, I want to go on my phone right now, or I really want to eat this thing, or I really want to just stay home, or I don't know, push back this project or not work on this thing. Think about what a lower version of yourself would do and a higher version of yourself. And I know that you've experienced a higher version of yourself. You've been in school before. You know what you are like productive. You felt that flow state before. So what would that flow state version of you decide to do? What would they do? And then you do that, and then you keep living and making those choices that align with that, and then you will live in that timeline. Throw in a little frequency here and there to keep yourself, in a higher state of mind. Never hurt nobody. I mean, actually, I don't know, maybe it did. I am sweating. Hang on. Like, I'm by no means perfect, obviously. I'm not trying to come off that way. I'm actually trying to be extremely vulnerable in the fact that, number one, obviously, as this video has even gone on, I've become more comfortable with you guys. Like, I am trying to get myself better myself. Like, I am nothing right now, but I want to be something. And I can acknowledge where I am right now. And I think that I also like to believe that we're kind of all one. Again, these are terms and things that fall into a certain category, but we are kind of all one, right? Like, there's so many clips and things that I see online that I'm like, wow, I really haven't had that many unique experiences. So there's a lot of people. What that says to me is that there's a lot of people out there that have gone through or are going through currently similar things as me. Like, you're never truly alone in an experience that you're going through. Like, you might feel that you're completely alone and that nobody understands, but because of the internet, and not even just a lot of experiences too, like I'm sure other people in your life have experienced, but things are maybe more specific that somebody in your immediate life hasn't gone through. You can connect and find people that have. And I think that there is a group of people that are also in the same state that I am, where they're just like, okay, we're bouncing back into life. I'm ready to bounce back into life. I want to keep existing. Like, I want to play this game longer. And I want to, be better and feel better. And I'm honestly, a lot of it too is trying to please my inner child or my younger self, because I did a lot of thinking again when I was sick and isolated. And I was just like, I have been living for other people for so long and not truly being me, like, authentically. And that's something that's like really important to me. And I didn't even know who I was. But then I tried to connect back to my younger self and the things that I used to gravitate towards and the things that I used to enjoy before, number one, internet and people were watching, and before, you wanted to present yourself in a certain way. Like, I don't care. Like, or no, I do care still what people think, but I'm trying every day not to care. Because you're living in your own reality. Like, literally, I'm sorry. This sounds, the more I speak, the more crazy I sound, but also these are the things that have, like, made me more sane. Even though they're or not crazy concepts, but even though they're kind of, um, psychotic concepts in a way, like, this is kind of just really what's gotten me through life. And also, don't come for me for my vocabulary, okay? I have gone through a lot. I haven't been reading a lot lately, and I'm yeah, I stumble over my words right now. It's gonna get better in time, because I'm gonna get better in time, and I acknowledge that my vocabulary is very limited right now, and it bothers me. um what was I gonna say? But I've come a long way, so I couldn't even really have a conversation. Not even kind of. Like, I actually couldn't have a conversation before, so when I was 6. So I'm very proud of myself for where I am right now. But oh no, this is what happens sometimes. I completely lose my train of thought. I also did this a little bit too big, and I'm kind of annoyed about that. We're gonna try and fix her. Yeah, but I'm just trying to not care what people think. I'm just trying to live in my own reality, because everybody is kind of a NPC in your life unless they become more than that. But if they don't, then they really are just an NPC. And so it kind of really doesn't matter, like, what people think. So I'm not saying do, like, things that are, like, illegal and be a nuisance or anything like that. Like, I'm just saying, like, do things, like, don't really try to not really care what other people think, because you're most likely never gonna see those people again. And even if you do, like, I don't know, like, if you're still in school or something, who cares? I'm sorry. But, like, after school, or, like, once you're done with school, when you start living your life, like, genuinely to you, you're gonna be so much better off than the people in your school that either made you feel weird about it, or, like, judged you or whatever, because you're more authentically you. Like, there's nothing to feel about that other than pride. So, welcome. Okay. So I'm just, like, not doing a very good job, but I do want to actually look nice today. I would enjoy that very much, I think. So I really do want to kind of try a little bit more, because sometimes I do my makeup and then it's just, like, looks so bad. And then one reason this looks so bad is because this little mirror that I'm using is really not good. Okay, this one's a little bit better, but these wings are just so atrocious at this point that I fear I may have to just blend them out and do, like, a blended kind of thing. Because these are just really, not the best. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to film more videos today. I want to make a lot of content, but I actually want to try and make my makeup look nice. So I will see you in the next video, and I appreciate you so much if you watched till the end. You really mean so much to me. Thank you. Bye.